When I was about 20, I intervened in an incident in broad daylight without speaking first. I was half asleep in a ball gown the day after a party, barefoot, sitting in the passenger seat of a friend's crappy parked car, playing drums on the dashboard with drumsticks while I waited for my dead SNES version, Game Boy Advance, to charge from their cigarette lighter. This lady dragged her girlfriend's toddler behind a pillar next to the parking area and started beating him with a bat. He looked 2 to 4 years old. It still makes my heart jump to remember him. I don't remember my bare feet touching the ground. I was so afraid if she hit him one more time he'd die. He was so small. I went flying out of that car with drumsticks still in my hands and knocked that woman over backward into a wall by her face. She hadn't realized anyone was back there with the parked cars, I guess. I thought she was going to beat me with the bat too, but I had a better chance of surviving it than the baby, and otherwise, I didn't really have time to think. She didn't though. She was a total coward. I was so surprised. She ran away so fast. I followed them around the building into a record store, and the employees and I stayed between them and the door and waited for the cops. The store gave the cops footage from their smoking area behind the store. The cop smiled in a sad way a lot after watching it, verbally patted my head, told me not to worry about getting in trouble, and made sure I knew they'd ensure the baby was going to be safe. Then I got kicked out of the store for leaving bloody footprints and didn't feel like waiting for my friend to be done with his 3-hour work shift anymore. So I got my shoes and backpack from the car and walked over a kilometer to my twin brother's place for a cry. He rolled me one of my first joints. When I told my foster mom later, who is usually stingy and resentful with more than shallow acknowledgement, I asked if it was the wrong thing to do and if she was disappointed in me for fighting. I was struggling with how I'd acted before thinking and could have gotten really hurt if I'd had to fight. A bat. She told me she had no doubt I'd done the right thing because I never fought unless I had to, so if I fought, I must have had to. It was one of the nicest things she ever did for me. After we talked, I could sleep again at night. I think I was just battling really nasty adrenaline surges for a little bit there. I've had nightmares during times in my life I felt like a failure about not reaching him in time and having his broken body in my hands, just screaming and crying and begging for someone to help me make him breathe, sometimes while that awful woman chases and bashes my head in with her bat. I used to have a serious chronic issue with putting too much of the effort I needed for my life into helping others, and had guilt over doing that less over the years, and my brain would use anything it could against me. So I've had to relive this with varying levels of success. Edit to add, I kickboxed a lot for exercise as a poor slashboard teen, but I did it for training and hadn't gotten in fights out of anger, in case anyone has seen me post about kickboxing before.